Today I'm going to discuss the role of Mamasans in the bars all over Thailand. So you're talking Phuket, Bangkok, Pattaya, Hua Hin, all the bars, most of the bars, well, all the bars I would say, whether they're beer bars or go-go bars, they have Mamasans. And to understand the role of a Mamasan, that's she basically looks after the girls. So imagine the bar as two businesses in one. So on one side you've got an establishment, a bar that sells alcohol. Now, in order to sell that alcohol, they need to entice people into that bar. If somebody just wanted to have a glass of beer, they could simply go to 7-Eleven and get it a lot cheaper than that bar. So why? They need to encourage people into that bar. So the bar is one standalone business. You've got the bar, the waitresses, the door staff, the cashier, all that sort of thing. That's one business. And the second part of the business is the girls, the dancers, or the girls who sit in the beer bars and they'll play Connect Four with you and everything. And that's run by them girls are run by a Mamasan. Now, normally when a Mamasan comes along to a bar or she leaves a bar, she'll have her own group of girls. And if she leaves, they'll normally leave with her. Or if a bar gets a new Mamasan, then those girls, she'll bring along half a dozen, maybe girls of her own. Now, she rules those girls with an iron fist. They respect her. They look at the Mamasan almost as if she's a surrogate mother. They'll go to her for advice, maybe tap her up for a loan if they're a bit short, that sort of thing. But when they come down from wherever they live, the Mamasan will be, like I say, a kind of surrogate mother who kind of gives them advice. But they are very tough with the girls. You know, they keep them in line. They've got to, otherwise they'd run riot. So that's really the role of the Mamasan. She's looking after the girls. The bar is dealing with the drinks. And it's two businesses there, and generally speaking, the Mamasan side of thing is really she's kind of she's an in-between the guys who go into the bars as customers and the girls dancing. She's kind of like an in-between person, and she brings it all together, that side of the business. Okay, so now that you understand that, let's talk about the Mamasan engaging with you as a customer and the girls. Now, a lot of the girls, especially if they've come down from villages, their English won't be very, very good. And the Mamasans most of the Mamasans, they've been around for a long time. You know, a lot of them will be 50 plus. They'll have come down to a place like Pattaya when they were quite young, maybe started off, or Bangkok rather, in a very popular go-go bar. And then, you know, maybe done that for a few years. After that, they would have maybe lost their looks a little bit, but they're still kind of attractive. So then they maybe move to a beer bar, or they might have had children. The body's not kind to women when they've had children. So they might move from, you know, dancing in a bikini to then sitting in a beer bar and playing games with customers. And then a little bit later on, she's still getting older. She'll get to the point where business is real slow, and at that point she's very experienced. She knows all the tricks and games. She's very familiar with foreign customers. Her English is now quite good with most of them, and at this point in their lives, they normally it's kind of more fruitful for them to go into a bar and become a Mamasan and look after girls. And the good Mamasans, they have a lot of girls with them, and a lot of the bar managers, they really look after the Mamasans, because they are afraid that if the Mamasan leaves the bar, then obviously the girls will go and then they'll really be in big trouble. Okay, so now we've cleared the ground, as it were, you know what their role is. Let's talk about some of the do's and don'ts when you go into bars. And remember, again, just a reminder, this video is for guys who's never been to Thailand before. Let's talk about the Mamasan, how she sizes you up. As I've already said, they've got a lot of experience behind them. And when you walk into a bar, the Mamasan will clock you walking in. She'll look over and she'll make a judgment on how you dress, how you look. Now, if you go in there with a vest with a Singer logo on the front of it, a pair of shorts and a pair of sandals without socks, and you've got a cheap watch on, she'll look at you and she'll think, you know, she's not going to put a lot of effort and time into you. She'll say hello, she'll be polite, but she's not going to try to really sell her girls to you, because she's going to look at you and think, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of money. Look at the state of him, how he's dressed. Some guys do have a lot of money and they just dress like that. We understand that, but they kind of judge people on the way they dress. Now, on the other hand, if you walk in there and you're wearing a nice pair of tailored pants, a nice shirt, it doesn't necessarily have to have a tie, you know, open, and you nice watch and maybe a gold chain, ring, whatever like that, she'll look at you and she'll decide that, you know, you are somebody, you've got a bit of money behind you, and she'll put the effort in. So She'll introduce herself. She'll certainly try and introduce you to some of her more popular girls, and she'll just tend to look after you a bit better. So they do, unfortunately, it is all on look, on dress. So as I say, if you're going in an old t-shirt, they just don't look at you the same as if, you know, you're wearing some nice clothes. And that's basically how they size you up. Okay, so when I better put this one in there, but when does a mamasan decide that you're basically a waste of time? So she's been over to you, you haven't bought her a drink, you're not interested in talking to you, you're a bit offish with her, and she gets to the point where she thinks this guy's a waste of time. They're very, very good, they're very professional, they know how to get in and out of situations. Now, if you've been sat there for a while and the mamasan's been stood there and you've been trying to ignore her, but she's still there, she'll get to the point where she decides this guy's a waste of time, I'm not going to put any more effort in. And what they'll normally do, they'll tap you maybe, look at the stage, and she'll get her hand and she'll just go like that, like point to the girls, and then she'll walk off. And that's her kind of polite way of getting out of that situation. So you probably already know from my other videos that any drinks that you buy for girls, mamasans, anybody like that, they get a cut of the drink, they get a commission. So if the drink's say 150 baht in a bar, they might get 50 baht, 70 baht, I don't know. It changes from bar to bar. So the mamasan will also be very, very interested in collecting drinks from customers throughout the night, because obviously the more drinks she has, then the more commission she's going to make. And over a month, that really does add up. So they're a little bit more subtle because they're experienced. They're not, they don't come up to you like the girls do and say, can you buy me a drink? Some of them do, but they've got more subtle ways to entice you to buy them a drink. So what are the benefits of buying a drink? Should you buy her a drink? If you go into that bar as a one-off and you just want to chill out and have a drink and then leave, then there's no point really. You're just throwing your money away, aren't you? But if you go into a bar regular, or you've gone into a bar, you see a lot of pretty girls and you think, well, I'd like to take one of these girls out of this bar and take her back to my hotel to continue drinking, just one-on-one. And the benefits, obviously, the obvious benefits are if you do buy the mamasan a drink, then obviously she's going to warm to you a little bit more, and she'll give you some history on the girls, which girls are good company, which ones are a little bit hard work, that sort of thing. So generally, if you're going into a bar on a regular basis, or you go into a bar as a one-off and you see a lot of pretty girls, yeah, it's worth buying the mamasan a drink, but that's always entirely your choice. Okay, so I just want to explain a little bit about, I've already touched on the background of the mamasans. So most of them, they've been through the hoops, as it were. They started off young, as I said, in go-go bars and beer bars. Some of them try massage parlors, soapy massage parlors. They go on dating apps. Now, what you might not realize is some of them, quite a few of them actually, have already been married to foreigners, so they know how foreigners' brains ticks. It's not like when you talk to the girls, you can tell stories and they'll believe some of what you say, not all of what you say. With the mamasans, a lot of them are very experienced with foreigners. They speak very good English. A lot of them, they've been to Australia, they've been to the UK, they've been to America. They might have married. You'll always get guys who go into them bars, fall in love with girls when they're younger, marry them, it doesn't work out. They come back to Thailand and they go back into what they know, which is if they're getting on a bit now, if they've been married, if they were working in a bar, they've been married 5-10 years and she's had to come back to Pattaya, then obviously she's got to continue working. So there's no point in giving a mamasan BS, lying, because they'll see straight through you, and she'll lose any respect that she had for you. As I say, they are very experienced. Most of them, a lot of them have been abroad, and those who haven't been abroad have normally had long-term foreign boyfriends or sponsors who have looked after them. So they know how you think,